What's up, Storm fans? Bryant Cook, and today we are playing Paradoxical Outcome, a very powerful vintage Magic the Gathering deck. If you're unfamiliar with the card Paradoxical Outcome itself, also known as PO, Paradoxical Outcome is a 4-mana instant that says you can return any number of non-land, non-token permanents to your hand, draw a card for each permanent return this way. So you're rewarded for running cards like Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, all of the Moxen, and then additional Moxen and Mox Opal, a non-original Mox. But that's how this deck generates card advantage. It's how it generates Storm. This build is using a Storm win condition. We are running Tendrils of Agony, a card that's sort of fallen out of favor over the years. This list is pure blue-black, so we are running Tendrils of Agony. But over the years, it's been Monastery Mentor, Time Vault combo, a bunch of different things. Tendrils not so popular. It's even been Brain Freeze recently. But today we're running Tendrils of Agony because, well, we're not running white, so there's no real reason to splash Jets for Mentor. Tendrils is nice and clean. It works well with our Bolas's Citadel, which I also like, so that's the reason we're running Tendrils. It also means that sometimes you don't have to combo as hard in order to win. Like, you don't have to go through the moon all the time. And I think that does have some value. So you might be wondering why we're running Tendrils of Agony instead of something like Urza's Saga. Well, if I'm being honest with you, and I've had this conversation with Justin Gennari, Vintage All-Star in the past, and it's that at its core, PO is a deck that is best when you run fewer lands. And the Urza Saga builds run anywhere between 15 and 16 lands, which, it goes a little against what PO is best at. So PO, once again, that is Paradoxical Outcome. It's best when you can fit as many artifacts in your deck as possible, enough fuel to get those things going, all that good stuff. Well, when you're running that many land drops, your plan becomes diluted, and PO becomes like sort of this awkward card in your deck. We're trying to maximize the potential of Outcome itself. We're not trying to do too many different things. We're just really trying to maximize what this card does well in order to have an efficient deck. So when you run cards like Urza Saga, you have to run a Manifold Key and all this other stuff, and a Needle and a Graveyard Hate card, and you end up with a lot of like random pieces in your deck that are bad when you draw them on their own. So we're just not playing that stuff. I'm probably not doing a great way of like describing this, but the idea is like you just want a maximum efficiency deck. That's the key point here. That's the big takeaway. You just want your deck to be efficient at what it does. So that is the primary reason behind not running Saga, but instead you just have a more coherent plan. And that's, casting this Paradoxical Outcome card. So one complaint that I've always had about this deck, and by the way, I love Paradoxical Outcome. It's my longtime favorite vintage deck. When I got into the format in 2019, it's what I started playing. And then in the summer of 2020, I went on a tear, an absolute tear. There's tons of videos here on this channel of me just crushing with Paradoxical Outcome and Vintage. I had a month where I won 3 Vintage challenges in a single calendar month. Like, I love this strategy. But one thing that I've always felt is that this deck's a little bit light on artifacts. So if you count Bolas's Citadel, we have 15, which isn't a whole lot because you're never going to return Bolas's Citadel with Paradoxical Outcome, which really means that you have 14 artifacts, which can be a little bit slim. I really wish that there was just like 1 or 2 more playables in the deck, but it is what it is. So that's one small criticism I have of the deck. But what I love about the deck is, 1, you get to draw a bunch of cards, which is really sweet. And 2, this deck feels like a vintage deck, and that's something that, doesn't really matter because I'm just someone that cares about winning. I'm sorry, I can't talk. I just ate dinner, all over the place. But yeah, this deck feels like a vintage deck. Like, you get to bounce and replay Black Lotus and Mox Sapphire. You get to run Yawgmoth's Will, which is just a super broken card. Time Walk, one of my favorite vintage cards ever. Tinker. In fact, like, Tinker's probably a top 5 all-time card for me. I love this because it puts Bolas's Citadel into play, or a giant stupid robot that ends the game. It's just so fun. And this deck just does wild things, and that's what you sign up for when you play Vintage. So stick around. There's going to be plenty of wild things that happen. But let's get into a little bit of the nitty gritty. If you're not interested in the nitty gritty, feel free to skip ahead. No big deal. I just want to discuss some of the more in-depth, in the weeds sort of things about this particular PO list. So if you're familiar with the archetype, you'll notice that I already talked about how Tendrils is the win condition, but you'll notice that there's 2 copies of Repeal in a single dress down. One of the things that I noticed when playing Vintage a few weeks ago for the Vintage Showcase was I've thought that Repeal's never been better than it is right now. With all the construct tokens running around, Repeal is just so good, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to play this deck list tonight, and it's that PO is by far the best Repeal deck. You can just bounce construct tokens, draw cards, make Urza Saga into a non-effective card, and I think that's really good. I almost considered not playing this dress down, but instead just running triple Repeal. But I think if you're going to be running the Tendrils version, running this dress down is almost free, because it's just so good against the Collector Roof decks in the format. So, yeah, like really, if you're going to run this version that doesn't have Saga in it, Repeal and Dress Down are the reasons why. And then one of the things that I mentioned is we're a deck that's 14 artifact mana sources, or 14 artifacts. I guess they're not all mana sources. Night's Whisper ideally is what you do on turn 1 in most games. You fetch up your Underground Sea with one of your fetch lands. So it taps for black, and then, you know, you'll have a Mox Ruby or a Mox Pearl, and then you'll cast Night's Whisper on turn 1, which gives you +1 card, because we need to draw a decent amount of cards in this deck. So before we cast this Paradoxical Outcome card, we want a number of these artifacts. So Night's Whisper is like a mini PO in a sense that it gets you an additional artifact to work with your outcomes. So it's like a bridge card, so to speak. In the past, people have run Preordain there. I've never loved Preordain. I feel like it's a little bit of a trap here, because you don't care about specific cards, you care about raw volume with a card like Outcome. So I think that Whisper's a little bit better. In the past, I've even run as many as 3, but today we're running 2. And then Sphinx of the Steelwind is our Tinker target. It's just super good against the Bazaar decks. In the sideboard, you'll notice that I'm running Leyline of the Void. I am not running any of those weird Soul Guide Lantern, Tormod's Crypt splits. My good friend Ryan Walagora, Winged Hussar, talked me into playing 4 Leyline, saying that all those other cards are traps, and this is coming from the Bazaar player perspective. So in my recent Vintage Showcase video that you can actually check out on the card above, I play 4 Leyline, and they just overperformed the entire time. I know that in a deck like PO, you probably want those artifacts to pick up with the outcome, but if you're in a position where you're outcoming and you can afford to pick them up and put them down, you've already won. So I think that we just want the more effective card here in Leyline of the Void instead of those artifacts. I'm open to being wrong here. This is all just pure theory crafting. So that is what I believe right now. Let's see if I feel that same way at the end of the video. And then we have Blightsteel Colossus for the Shops decks, Tabernacles also for Bazaar, Needles for Bazaar and Shops. Fatal Push is really for those bug decks to kill Collector Oof, Fluster Storm for the blue decks, and then obviously Hurkyl's Recall is for the Mishra's Workshop decks. That's my deck tech. If you have any questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. But I've been rambling on for long enough. Let's hop on in and play some Vintage Magic the Gathering. I'll see you in match number 1. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. That said, there's no better way of showing your support than becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks, and we get to keep making combo content. The perks get better and better each level you go up. They also stack. To start off, with our Storm Fan tier, you unlock our private members section of our Discord, which comes with a highlighted user profile and then some awesome badges and emotes for YouTube. Looking for sideboard help? Become a Stormtrooper, our middle tier, for 2 sideboard guides of your deck choice every single month, on top of 50% off donation decks. Did we mention you also get 10% off merchandise from our shop? With our top tier, the Combo Cabal, you get a free donation deck every single month, 15% off merchandise from our shop, early access to private deck lists, and the most valuable perk in my opinion, videos early. That's right, you heard it, early access to all videos. But maybe sweet perk, secret deck list, early access to videos isn't for you, but you'd still like to show your appreciation. Make sure to check out theepicstorm.com/shop for card singles and Storm swag. Please don't forget to use your membership discounts. Finally, if you want to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel, make sure to visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks, where all you have to do is attach your TXT file and pick a donation tier. With our Epic tier, you can even join me in a video to showcase your bold brew in person and explain the ins and outs of your strategy. Card availability won't be an issue due to our new sponsor, Card Hoarder. With Card Hoarder, renting is super easy. If you're looking to get into Magic Online, there isn't a better, more affordable solution than Card Hoarder. Fun fact, you can rent the Epic Storm for 7 tickets a week, which is just a great deal. There are many ways you can support us. Just pick whatever is best for you. In the meantime, let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first match. We are on the draw against Zol. This hand seems fine to me. I mean, Force Blue card in Vintage tends to be pretty good. And then on top of that, we can accelerate into Narset on turn 2, assuming that I find a land. This hand's very powerful. Turn 1, Mox Sapphire, Beseiju, Collector Oof. We're going to attempt to force that, and I'm going to pitch this outcome. It's just not quite good yet, and the force resolved. Interesting, so we have to keep this in mind because they have an out to Sphinx of the Steelwind, which tends to be really good in these matchups. Let's probe and see what our opponent's working with on 3 cards. Demonic Tutor, Tarmogoyf, Deathrite Shaman. Okay, so I think I'm just going to cast Ponder here. Let's grab Underground Sea. Ponder. Hello, Tinker. Okay, past that turn. I love to tinker. In fact, it is my favorite thing about this format. If I'm not tinkering, I'm not happy. Okay, so they, even if they draw a Force of Will here, they don't have a blue card. Deathrite Shaman, sure. Okay. So we're going to attempt to resolve Tinker. Mox Pearl, Mox Opal, blue, white, and then we're going to sacrifice the Opal because it doesn't do anything. And now we have the decision on whether or not we get Sphinx or the Citadel. I think we just get Sphinx. They've already played their answer, and Citadel could be destroyed by Force of Vigor or something like that. Where having the Sphinx just, it's a little bit more free. And if they have multiple copies of Beseiju, tip your cap. Like, they got me. And our opponent has conceded the game, going to post board. So we do get to bring in some Fatal Pushes here. And I'm going to scale this down just a hair so that way we can see all the cards in our deck here. So we definitely want both copies of Fatal Push. We know that for sure. So you could board in Blightsteel because it dodges Force of Vigor. The problem with it is that it does get Okoed, which is pretty scary. I've tried different versions of this where, because like, but the nice thing is it doesn't get destroyed by Beseiju, unlike the Sphinx. So I don't like having all 3 Tinker targets in, so you have to decide between Citadel or Blightsteel. I do like that Blightsteel gives you a target that doesn't lose to Beseiju. So maybe I'll try this out at least for game 2, and I can always swap back. The Saga builds of PL board and Needle here because you can name Wasteland or Deathrite Shaman, but like we don't care about Saga because we're not playing it. So I don't think you need a board and Needle. And actually, this is my first time in quite a while running Tolarian Academy in Vintage. I haven't drawn it yet, but it will definitely happen this league, and I hope it's good. So we need to find 2 more cards to board out here. Let's go through. I do like Repeal in this matchup because it bounces Collector Oof. We can get rid of this Hercules Recall, that's for sure. And then we need 1 more slot. I do know some people that board out Mystical Tutor in this matchup because it's card disadvantage. I don't really follow that mindset, I guess I'll say, because you still want to just resolve Tinker as often as possible. One thing I do think is that you could probably shave on a Mox Opal. So I'm going to do that. The reason why you could shave on Mox Opal is that our opponent is the Collector Oof Force of Vigor deck. there's a good chance that Opal's not going to be great in this matchup. And in fact, you could probably even board in this additional Fluster. I'm just not quite sure what you'd take out yet. And Fluster, like, it can be bad in this matchup. I'm not saying it's always bad, I'm just saying it can be bad. We're going to keep this. Because, like, they are a Collector Oof Oko deck, and sometimes Fluster just doesn't have targets. Alright, turn 1 Verdant Catacombs. Draw. Paradoxical Outcome. So I want the Sapphire in play, then we're going to cast Whisper. Now we have Fluster back up. Sure, we'll let that go. Now it's Whisper countered. Looted Delta. Underground Sea, Verdant Catacombs. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Collector Oof. And it is. Alright, so our hand doesn't do anything anymore. We have 2 Fatal Push. Might as well play out the top, I guess. I don't know. Not in a good spot. Okay. I have 2 push, 2 repeal, and a dress down, but I can't cast repeal or dress down at the moment. 3 mana, energy flux. Okay, they got this one. We can go to the next one. No need to sit there and play that one out. Alright, so as you saw, energy flux and Collector, Flusterstorm isn't great there, so I'm just not going to bother. Let's just submit. On the play for game number 3, we have the Tinker. I think I'm going to try this. We do need to hit another mana source. If we could draw a Mox off the top, that would be amazing, because then I could Time Walk. Probe. Target you. Hull Breacher, Ancestral Recall, Force of Vigor, Wasteland. So they kept a hand without a mana source in it. It's interesting. Did they really just rip Misty Rainforest? Come on. Jeez. No justice. Draw. Okay, now they're going to cast Ancestral. We drew Force? Wow. Okay. So I'm going to Time Walk here and just pray. And just pray that I rip land 3 for this Tinker. I'm going to force that. Okay, come on, land 3. Or Artifact. Draw. That'll do, pig. Okay, tap those. I'm going to play the Opal, and I'm going to sacrifice the Opal. Tinker away Opal, and we're just going to get Blightsteel. Should I get Blightsteel? Let's think about this. So if they draw a Mox off the top, they can Oko my Blightsteel Colossus. But then they have Ponder to look. They have Energy Flux too. But I have Island. I mean, they have to draw exactly Mox or Black Lotus. They have Ponder. This is a really tough call. I'm just going to get the Blightsteel. Alright, don't do me wrong. So if we draw a black source, I can Wasteland a potential blocker. I can Fatal Push a blocker, but I didn't fetch a black source previously because of the Wasteland in their hand. You might be thinking, Bryant, you could have fetched a black source, you didn't knowing that you had Fatal Push. Well, we also took a big risk on this Time Walk hitting a mana source. We got lucky and it did, but if we fetched Underground Sea and it didn't, we'd look pretty foolish. Alright, did they draw it? And the opponent concedes. So the good guys get match number 1 without ever casting a Paradoxical Outcome. I'm sorry about that, but Tinker is a hell of a Magic card. See you in match number 2. If you haven't joined them already, I would recommend opening up our description down below and joining our 7 social media networks. They're each great in their own way, but I would strongly suggest joining our Discord server. In there, you will find others just like you looking to improve their Storm game and grow as a combo community. If you're a member of our YouTube channel, you should sync your account to Discord to unlock our private member section that has the latest and greatest deck lists, concepts, and much, much more. Let's get back to comboing out. Match number 2, we're facing Unban, Oko, and Labe. They've revealed a Lurrus of the Dream Den, so they're a Lurrus dueler, the only format that you can even battle with Lurrus in anymore. So that's kind of spicy. Here we have a few artifacts and a PO. I think we're going to keep this. Ideally, you would draw a 3rd artifact. That's the goal here. Volcanic Island, so they're probably a Breach deck. Dragon's Ridge Channeler? Ragavan, okay. Draw. Time Walk. I think we're just going to play the island and pass for now. Ragavan gets in there. Aw, how dare you hit my Brainstorm? That's just disrespectful. Not nice. Into the fetch lands. They got a perfect Brainstorm off of my own cards. Jeez. Draw. We draw a land. Alright. Soul Ring. Time Walk. And they're moving to counter the Time Walk. You got it. I'd rather you fluster a Time Walk than this outcome. Although right now this outcome is literally just inspiration, which isn't very good. Really would like to draw a 3rd artifact. Ragavan gets in again, we go to 16 life. They hit our Tendrils, that's so bad. So that means that now we have to win with Sphinx of the Steel Wind. We don't have a choice. Although if for some reason, I don't think this is correct, but if for some reason our opponent casts Tendrils, we could theoretically Yawgmoth's Will it back. Expressive Iteration. Ancestral Recall. Pretty good. Pretty good. We're getting crushed. Opponent casually has 9 cards in hand. Wasteland, okay. Yep. Mystical Tutor. Alright, so I think I'm going to try to set up a bait here. What I'm going to do is on their end step attempt to outcome, they'll counter it, upkeep Mystical, tinker with Fluster backup. Alright, so we go to 14, Tolarian Academy. One has 7 cards. Why you gotta be like this? Why? Alright. A lot of collector groups so far. Attempt to inspiration. It's also weird that they're a Lurrus deck. Considering this looks mostly like Rug. Obviously there's some death rates in here too, but... Alright, we're dead. We're just gonna pick this one up. Yikes. That's all I have to say about that. We got stomped. So we definitely want Fatal Push here. We do not want Hurkyl's Recall. Let's get that out of the deck. And I think I'm going to keep Citadel in. I don't think we want to bring in, excuse me, Blightsteel Colossus. I am interested in Flusterstorm 4. We'll take out an Opal. We need one more card. I wonder if it's supposed to be the Mystical. Like, this is a Xerox style matchup. We can try this out. You could also potentially look at boarding down to 1 Opal, but then your outcomes get a little bit dicey. On the play. I don't think we're allowed to keep this, unfortunately. It's technically a hand. I don't think it's that good though. All right. I guess like in order for us to win, we have to like find Ancestral Recall. So this is our turn 2 Narset. I think that's probably okay. Pass that turn. Misty Rainforest. Okay, we're just gonna jam the Narset and pray. Blue, blue, red, Narset. And it just resolves? So they must be holding open Fluster. Okay, and this is all garbage. We'll take the top. Pass. Wasteland. Underground Sea down. And they're just passing. That's interesting. Draw. Okay, let's use the Narset. I think we want the Mox here. We already have double Fluster. I don't think we really gain anything by taking a third. So instead we're going to play out this Emerald, play top, and if we need to, we have Force with double Fluster backup. Strip Mine, that hurts. Okay. Well, that's good. All right, so they're switching phases. Passing the turn. So this taps for 3. Hold priority. We'll pick up all of these. All right. So we have Force with Fluster backup. So they have their own Fluster. We will counter their Fluster with our Fluster. Okay, so we should be drawing 5 cards off this. 4 for the permanents and 1 for the top activation. We drew the Sphinx, draw off top. Tendrils. Okay, so we're just going to replay the top here. And we have to move to clean up. I think it's actually supposed to be the land. I was thinking about discarding the Sphinx, but I don't think that's correct. Like, if they have another Wasteland here, sure. But, like, if we resolve Tinker into Citadel, we're not going to want to land in our hand. And I can always theoretically brainstorm the Sphinx back into the deck, and then, you know, get it back. Okay, so they have 2 lands in play now. 6 cards in hand. Ponder, let that go. They did not shuffle off the Ponder. I've definitely missed playing Vintage. I just don't play it that often anymore because the videos don't perform well, but playing this deck is so much fun. And yeah, sign me up. The cards are great. Draw. Nope, upkeep. Okay, so once again, we're going to attempt to resolve this outcome. Natural counterspell the Force of Vigor here, and we get to save our Flusterstorm. And another Fluster. Alright, so we can point 1 at their Force of Vigor, and then the rest at their Flusters. Clarion Academy, what a powerful card. And then outcome, draw off the top, or the top activation. Now we get a draw step, which was Merchant Scroll. Okay. Need to think about this. I have not used Time Walk yet. Yeah, Time Walk's right there. So I can Vampiric Tutor for Time Walk. Play the top. Flop the top. Time Walk. Okay, opponent has 3 cards. And now this should be pretty easy. We're at 17. I think we just tinker. Get rid of this emerald. Go get Citadel. Play top. Draw. Replay the top off Citadel. Hello, outcome. Sure, let's bounce these. Okay, draw off the top. And another outcome, okay. So the nice thing about this is that we're generating black mana for the tendrils in our hand. Hold priority again, and then we're going to target our artifacts. Loading that black mana as I mentioned. Hello, Mana Crypt, you're perfect, and I love you. Alright, we go to 7 off the Citadel, play out these artifacts again, and then we're going to Tendrils. Okay, so now we have 2 black, 2 colorless, and cast Tendrils from hand. This is going to be for 26 life. Take that, you Force of Vigor, Flusterstorm, Collector Roof deck. Now we just have to get game number 3. I don't think we're supposed to fix anything here. Part of me was wondering if, like, maybe on the draw, if I want Mystical Tutor over the outcome, or outcome number 4. I think we're probably supposed to just resubmit. You could also think maybe about boarding in Tutor over this additional Mox. Like, that seems somewhat reasonable. Maybe I'll do that. Because Mystical Tutor also gets, like, Fatal Push for Oof. I've never gone down to 1 opal, I think. I mean, maybe I have. It's been a long time. It just feels wrong going down to 1 Mox opal. I don't like it. Well, this is a hand. Keep. Who needs action when all you have is protection? Okay, Lurrus has been revealed. Tropical Island. Black Lotus, okay. 3 white for Lurrus. Lavinia. What? Going to pitch a Fluster here. Okay, so Black Lotus mana gone. Draw. I was not expecting Lavinia. This is not a good draw. Probe them. Whoops, wrong tab. Force of Negation, misstep. Okay, I'm going to play out my island and just play top. If they misstep, we can always misstep back. Alright, so we know that their hand is 2 lands and Force of Negation. One of those lands is a wasteland, though. They've played the Flooded Strand. It looks like they're passing the turn. In our upkeep, we'll top looking for land number 2. We did not find land number 2. I think we take the Fatal Push here. Pass the turn. They're activating their Flooded Strand for Volcanic Island. So they're going to hit our Narset. Which honestly might be doing us a favor. It's clearing the top of our deck for us to hit a land. So they have Wasteland, Force of Negation, and 1 unknown. Alright, so we now know that it's Wasteland Force. Alright, so Vamp's our top card. Let's top and see if we can hit that fetch land. Nope. I don't know what to do here. I can't let them have a Vampiric Tutor. Like, we could give them Mana Vault. I could also potentially look at trying to force the Mana Vault, but if they play Wasteland into Ragavan, they have Hardcast Force up. And they're going to cast it the normal way, okay. They've played the Wasteland. Lurrus. It's an issue. See if we can hit that land. killing me, Smalls. Guess we take the Mana Vault. We're in trouble. So now they're going to clear the Fatal Push. And now they can cast Lurrus with Force and Negation back up. I'm going to Force. And they have Forced back. Okay. So now they can replay Black Lotus. And then next turn replay Lavinia. Oh, they can just play Lavinia now. Yeah. Okay. There's a way too late Underground Sea. I don't know what to do. I think we're just stuck on lockdown now. We're at 9 too. They're attacking for 7. I think they've just got me. Yeah, well played by the opponent. They definitely put me in a stranglehold here. Okay. We are now 1-1. Playing your favorite combo deck in Paper just got so much easier with the Epic Storm Mini Token Pack. You can pick one up at theepicstorm.com/shop for $13. It includes 64 double-sided mini tokens. That's 128 tokens total. And they include 10 black, 10 blue, 10 red, 5 green, 5 white, 3 colorless, 20 storm counters. That means that you can count your way all the way up to 20 for Grape Shot, everyone's favorite Stormwind condition, a Galvanic Relay Exile Indicator, 4 treasure tokens for Strike It Rich, and then 10 monk tokens for our vintage friends. It also has Slime Time Live, 8th Progenitor Ooze tokens with the power and toughness already built in to make playing in Paper so much easier. No fumbling around with dice. We've got you covered. Make sure to go grab those if you're playing Modern. And then Squirrels versus Goblins, Chatterstorm versus Empty the Warrens, the Battle of the Ages. You definitely need 20 Squirrel tokens and 20 Goblin tokens. You're going to love this mini token pack, I promise. And once again, you can grab that at theepicstorm.com/shop. Welcome to match 3. We are on the play. Okay, so this is a hand that can make 6 mana on turn 1. We can almost hardcast our Sphinx. I don't know. Like, are we supposed to keep this? I don't know what our opponent's playing, but I'm guessing with the name of Monastery Mage, it's likely a blue deck. This hand just seems pretty risky to me. I think we're just better off mulliganing. This hand does not seem very good. We'll go to 5. Okay, down to 5 cards. I don't know. Maybe we'll get lucky and draw Ancestral. Flooded Strand and pass the turn. Scalding Tarn, Mox Pearl. Draw. Another Force, okay. And pass. Okay, not really quite sure what they're playing yet, but it's not like I'm in a position to do anything, so it doesn't matter. Alright, well that could certainly help. Probe. They're responding to the Gitaxian Probe. Underground Sea, okay. What is this? Ancestral. So it looks like they have a Fluster. I mean, I have to force Ancestral. Veil of Summer, so your Oath. Now I'm Hellbent. Probe. And I drew my own Ancestral, okay. They are in fact Oath, though. I'm gonna need to get kind of lucky to win here. Ancestral Recall. This Yawgmoth's Will card is pretty good. But that said, we're facing down Oath of Druids next turn, so I don't know how good it's going to be. Maybe if I draw like Black Lotus for turn, that could make me stand a chance. But they just have Oath of Druids. I don't love my odds. I guess that's what I'm saying here. Yep. That's an orchard. Come on, Black Lotus off the top rope. Draw. It's something, I guess. Soaring? Yawgmoth's Will? We have Force of Vigor, Orchard, and one unknown. Let's start on the probe. Going to 12 life. I drew Underground Sea, and of course I draw my Sphinx. Let's fetch to Thin again. And Ancestral Recall. Yikes. I guess the silver lining here is, hypothetically, let's say our opponent plays something I don't care about, which, you know, isn't going to happen. They're going to have something good off this Oath. I could hardcast Citadel next turn. Alright, so they're about to give us an Oath creature, or an Orchard creature or spirit. Oath of Druids. What is your poison of creature here? Void Winnower. Can't cast spells with even mana values. Okay, so I can't play the Citadel. I don't know if I can actually beat a Void Winnower. I don't think... I guess... No, I can't repeal it. I guess I could repeal for like 11. Yeah, I don't think I can beat that card. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. Concede? Okay, so that was a wild one. So we definitely want this Flusterstorm, and I think we could take out the Sphinx. And then the question is, like, what do you want? Because, like, Hurkyl's Recall is not good in this matchup. So the question becomes, like, do you want anything in your sideboard instead of the Hurkyl's Recall? I think the answer is no. I think you're better off just having Recall in your deck to pitch to force or to bounce your own artifacts with. So we're just going to submit this. Okay, game number 2. So we have Black Lotus Mana Crypt, but no real payoff here. I don't think you're supposed to keep this. So this is technically a turn 2... No, it's not a turn 2 Tinker. My bad. I think you're supposed to go to 5. This is the best hand we've seen. Alright, let's try it. Underground Sea, Mox Jet. And cast this Demonic Tutor. Search your library for a card and put that card in your hand, a defining feature of Vintage. Maybe not this art for most people, but this is the art that I own in paper, so that's what I use. Our opponent casts Force and Negation. Sure. 5 cards left in their hand. Scalding Tarn. Tropical Island into Ponder. Okay, draw. Not really that useful. We're going to pass on their end step. We'll Mystical Tutor for Tinker and just pray that it resolves. But Oath has historically been a nightmare matchup for Outcome because they play so much interaction that I think it's like a little unrealistic for you to think that you should win. They still have 5 cards in hand and they've missed a land drop here, so not loving my odds. Okay, I've been stepped. Draw. Pass. Adding 3 green. I'm gonna respond to this with an outcome, see if the outcome resolves. Target. I have to imagine it gets countered here, and it doesn't. It actually resolves. Okay. I guess subtle nice thing is that with repeal, I can bounce a spirit token with it, and they don't have the orchard. Okay, draw. Circles. 3 cards in hand. I'm going to attempt to repeal my own Sapphire. Top is a very good one. Play the top. Spin the top. Flusta. Love a good Flusta. Alright, we'll keep that on top for now. Okay. So on their end step, I'm going to attempt to draw a card and then Hercules ourselves. By doing this on their end step, you play around Force of Vigor, blowing up your artifacts. So if this were to resolve, we would draw the Flusterstorm, and then we could fetch. And that's what we'll do. Let's grab an island, why not? Draw. Do you like Whisper? I realize that I'm playing a little bit into Force of Vigor here, but we have a Fluster, it's fine. And we have another Fluster. Play the top. And spin top. An Outcome and an Opal. I like all of this. Yeah. Pass the turn. They're going to use the Spell Bomb. Drawing a card, that's fine. We don't care about those. Opponent's up to 5 cards in hand. Okay. Let's attempt to resolve this paradoxical outcome and draw 5 cards. Okay. We can pay for a Flusterstorm here. Force pitching, Dig Through Time will attempt a Veil of Summer. Same targets. Force of Vigor. I feel like I'm falling for a trap here, but like, I have to bite. If your last card is a Veil of Summer, like, tip of the cap, you got me. Alright, so it's clearly not Veil of Summer. Alright, Outcome for 5. Alright, that's a good sign. And we hit Tinker. As you know, I love to tinker. Okay, play the Soul Ring. And let's tinker. Get that Citadel. Hello, Academy. Welcome to the party. Top. Draw off top. Okay, so it looks like we're going to get this game. I just have to find the Tendrils of Agony. Have I used Mystical? I have used Mystical, okay. Because if I didn't use Mystical, I can Merchant Scroll for Mystical to put the Tendrils on top. But, I don't need to do that. Sure, let's cast Yogwill. I'm at 11. Vamp Tutor for Tendrils wins here. I'll let you. With triple Fluster backup. Can't veil that. Okay. Game number 3 versus Oath coming up. Don't think I'm going to change anything. We're just going to hope to get super lucky again. Game number 3 on the draw versus Oath of Druids. So we have a Force of Will and we have turn 1 Narset. So pretty powerful magic cards here. Tropical Island into... We'll let Preordain go. I suppose they can have a Preordain. They put both cards on top. Okay, that's a little scary to me. Draw. Another Force, that's good. Alright, Narset's coming. Here she is. Turn 1 Narset with double Force of Will backup. Force pitching Force. We will Force of Will pitching Paradoxical Outcome. I think the repeal is a little bit more valuable against the Oath deck because it can bounce those spirits. And she resolves. Let's see what we can find. Mana Crypt or Vampire Tutor. I think the Crypt is actually just better here. And now we can cast Night's Whisper on turn 1. And I keep on saying but we will be essentially dealing ourselves a lot of damage here because we're going to go to 16 off the Whisper. But I also played a Mana Crypt, which means that there's a 50% chance every upkeep that I deal myself 3. Not an ideal situation. That said, eventually I can repeal it, so Silver Linings or something like that, right? There's no need to play out the Mox Jet. It opens us up to Force of Vigor, but also just like we have a Fluster in our hand, we could potentially create Storm for it later. We'll allow Demonic Tutor to resolve here. If it's like Orchard into Oath, we can always force the Oath. Okay, and they're just passing the turn with 3 cards. Interesting. They might have gotten Ancestral, maybe? I don't know. Alright, and we won the flip. Heads got there. Mana Vault. Let's use the Narset. Although I guess they probably wouldn't have gotten Ancestral when we have this Narset on the table. Do I take the Outcome or the Night's Whisper? So if I take the Outcome, we're shields down on counter magic unless I want to pitch the Fluster. Alright, go big, right? That's what we're here to do. I think I'm just going to pass for now. In their upkeep, I'll attempt to cast the Outcome, leaving Narset on the table. We could pay for a Fluster here. Okay, I mean, that was pretty good. Land number 3, 3 cards in hand. Is this an Oko? It is. So they could attack the Narset. I'm gonna Oko go. I know that it seems a little bit greedy, but if their last card in hand is Veil Summer, I refuse to lose to it. And I don't really care about the Narset that much. Goodbye, Narset. It's been real. You were a good friend, but you're dead now. Okay, so now we just need to hit another payoff spell and we win the game. Mystical Tutor's a pretty good one. But we can't get to we can't cast whatever we want off this. Ooh, or can we? Hold on. I think we just won. Black Lotus is in the graveyard. I can Mystical for Yawgmoth's Will. Okay, I think we've got this. Alright, Mystical. Get the Will. Okay. Bounce Mana Crypt. Now we play Will. Black Lotus makes blue. Okay. Let's Paradoxical Outcome for 3. What I like about the Outcome first here is that it gives us the black mana to cast the Night's Whisper. We hit Citadel, but I don't think that really matters. Use a colorless mana to play the Mana Vault. Opal's now a blue mana source, so I like that. So you can play the Repeal for free here. We just bounce the Opal. Actually, hold up. I might have Deterministic. Mystical for Tendrils. Well, yep, okay, I have Lethal. Roll Mystical for Tendrils. Alright, tap this for a black. Repeal the Opal. Ding dong. Can't believe we're actually going to win this. Nightmare matchup. Okay, look at those drills. Wow, can't believe we got there. We're 2-1. 2 rounds left to go. Hey, you're still watching. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. If you're looking to make a purchase from Card Hoarder, TCG Player, or Amazon and are looking to support us, you can open up our description down below, and in there you will find our affiliate links. Those same links are found on the homepage of the Epic Storm. But that's not all. We've included a Card Hoarder button on our website that will load the Epic Storm in your Card Hoarder cart to make life simple for you. Time for match number 4. We're on the draw, but look at this hand. These are the sort of hands that you keep with the Paradoxical Outcome deck, where you're just thinking, for the love of God, can I please draw outcome? And then it never happens, because that's how Magic works. But then there will be games where you're just like, I need any artifact, and you'll draw a triple outcome in a row. And you're like, all of these cards are literally blank pieces of cardboard. Well, let's see what our opponent's up to. Urza Saga. Well, we have this repeal in hand. Soul Ring, okay. Max Emerald. Are you a blue deck or a prison deck? I think they're a blue deck. Draw. Okay. Well, we have a whole lot of artifacts. So then we're going to play out the top here and look for a payoff spell. If we don't find one, we'll shuffle. Spin that top. Ding dong. Okay, so I think we actually are going to want both of these. We're going to pass. We don't really care if they play or make a construct. That's not what this game's about anymore. Okay, Saga goes up. Do you have a blue source? You have another Saga. Are you a prison deck, or are you a blue deck that kept a hand that doesn't cast spells? Alright, so we're drawing the PO. Let's bounce the Sapphire and draw the Mystical. Replay. Fetch. So I think I'm actually going to not tap the top here. And the reason why is that I can't fluster a Force. So if they do have Force of Will here, I can Mystical for my own copy of Force, and just to make sure that resolves. All right, I am beginning to think less and less that they're actually a blue deck. Okay. Replay all of these. And let's outcome again. So this is another draw 4 that was literally free because we have 4 Moxen. Storm is 8. And now we're just looking for that Tendrils of Agony card, which I think we have it locked up. Alright, let's play this Opal. Play the Mystical. Grab Tendrils of Agony. Tap this for a black. Play another Opal. Keep this on tap Opal. We'll play an Underground Sea. Tap this for blue. Play a Repeal. You dead. Writing on the wall. Okay, so I don't know how we're supposed to sideboard because I don't know what our opponent's playing. We could do that thing where we just resubmit the same 75, or I can cheat. And by cheat, I mean simply use MTG Goldfish and look up our opponent's username, which is what I'm going to do. Don't hate me. It's not actually cheating. Everybody does it. Everybody cheats. It's like steroids baseball, am I right? Okay, well, that didn't help me at all. They have one result, and it's Rakdos Artifacts in Standard. So we're going to do the good old-fashioned hit submit and just have our deck do the good things. Game number 2, we're on the draw. I mean, I don't hate it. It's just like not that good. I don't know. They kept 7. I think we can do better. Sure. This is what I was talking about. Triple PO, no artifacts. Like, this is what this deck does. So there's a blue source. So they did keep a no blue source hand. Draw. Let's play this probe. Show me your secrets. Repeal Time Walk Snapcaster Mage. So it's the mirror. We're in a good old-fashioned mirror match. Okay. They can repeal our Emerald here. Tundra. Emerald comes home. They've played Island. Time Walk. I think I'm actually going to force Time Walk, and it seems a little bit silly. But next turn they have Merchant Scroll for Ancestral. And if, ooh, they drew Force. Pitching Snapcaster. Okay. That's actually bad for us. I guess it's actually not the worst, because now they can't Snapcaster the Ancestral that they go to get. They drew a very blue hand in game number 2. So there's the delta. They can use their Merchant Scroll to go get Ancestral, and then they'll have 5 unknown cards in hand. Ooh. Our deck does not remove this very well. So my goal is now to just draw Tinker off the top and pray. Bluster. So we're on like a 1-turn window here to draw into Tinker. Yikes. That was a good one. Okay, so we should just grab an Underground Sea here, but we need to draw something incredibly good. Our own copy of Nurse, that's not too bad. Let's cast it. Hey. Guess we'll take the top because the Brainstorm doesn't do anything. And play the top. Spin that dreidel. Hello. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. They're activating their Narset. So I guess the silver line here is that with our Narset, we shut off their Merchant Scroll for Ancestral line. They've played an Island. They have their own copy of Tinker. Merchant Scroll, what does that get here? Does it get like another Fluster? They pick up a Force of Will. So their hand is Force, Fluster, Tinker, and 1 unknown. We're about to draw into Tinker ourselves. Let's minus the Narset. We know there's a Demonic Tutor there. Guess we take the Tutor. Cast it. We can go get our own Fluster to counter their Tinker. Yeah, I think that's the play. Island pass. So they have Fluster, Force, and Unknowns. Let's see what else we can find here. I like these. Attempt to Time Walk. Spin top. I think we'll take the fetch land. I guess I'm going to just fetch first and save on mana. Like, you could spin first, but I don't think I love that. Jeez. Okay, pass the turn. They're up to 5 cards in hand now. All they need is an artifact. I shouldn't have said it out loud. I don't know if I can beat this. I just have to let it go. There's Citadel. So it is underneath the Narset. They've not played a land yet. I do have a key on top. Or not a key, a mental misstep on top. So I think I want to counter this because it stops the Time Vault combo. And maybe, just maybe, they'll get greedy and try to counterspell this. So I think we win this in the long run. They do have Force of Will and 1 unknown card in hand. Misstep. They had another fluster. Wow. Okay, so they have Force of Will left as the single card in their hand. We actually have a shot at winning this as long as they don't win off the Citadel, because that means my Tinker will resolve, assuming that their top card isn't a counterspell. Okay, so they did not play a land. I think there's a real shot that their top card is in fact a counter. We're just going to try to resolve our own Tinker. Okay, well, we have the power top on our side. That's a good start. I can't draw a card, so this is just -4 life. Ouch. Also, I said the mirror match earlier. I just meant like the Tinker mirror. Our opponent isn't actually on Outcome. They're just on Esper Tinker. Alright, Mox Jet. Well, a blue will play another opal. Let's... So if I cast Brainstorm, I actually have to put this PO on top of my deck, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to spin top here. Mystical wins the game. Go to 8. Tendrils of Agony. Target you. Okay. This should do it. And our opponent has conceded the game, so we're now 3-1 with classic PO. Love it. All right, one more round left to go. Let's finish this strong with a 4-1. If you're looking for more great Magic the Gathering content, definitely check out the Eternal Glory podcast. It is myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Koval and Phil Gallagher. We primarily discuss Legacy. That said, a lot of what we talk about transcends all formats. We're available on all major podcast platforms. Welcome to the 5th and final match with Paradoxical Outcome. We're on the draw, and our hand is pretty darn good. We're going to try this. I do wish that this Mox Opal was a regular Mox, so that way we could have turn 1 Night's Whisper, but this hand's really solid. We'll Mental Misstep this Ragavan. That doesn't need to hit the table. Okay. Draw. Island. We'll just pass the turn. Mox Sapphire. Into Snow-Covered Island. 4 cards in hand. Let's fetch. Draw. Okay, I think I'm going to attempt to resolve the Night's Whisper here. I'd like some blue cards to pitch to force. Or double land, that's fine too. No big deal. We're going to need 5 land drops in this vintage game, so perfect. You can have a Brazen Borrower. I'm not going to force that. Strip Mine. Okay. They have 3 cards. We just need to draw into something. Draw. Top. Sure, let's play that. Pass the turn. Opponent's still with 3 cards in hand. I can play the Narset as a glorified impulse, and what I mean by that is we'll play it, we'll get to look at the top 4 cards, but our opponent will attack it with this Brazen Borrower and then kill the Narset after. We have to let Ragavan go here. Not looking good for the home team. Let's spin the top. Honestly, these cards aren't very good. Alright, so they can have a Hurkyl's Recall. Okay. Draw. We'll play the Narset. So they have Ragavan and 2 unknowns. Is it a Pyroblast? Force. I'm gonna force back. So they have a Ragavan. So they could put me to 1 next turn, so I'm not really incentivized to keep an extra force in hand. This Demonic Tutor is fairly good. But would a Brainstorm be better? Probably not. Take the Demonic Tutor. The Dash Ragavan's back. We never faced a Workshop or Bazaar deck this league, which is kind of wild. Not your normal Vintage. So they sent it all at us, so we get to keep the Narset. They could pick up their own cards with Paradoxical Outcome here, assuming that they have a land in hand. But we do have this Narset, so not quite perfect. No! Yep, they got us. Okay. Bummer. So we definitely want the Fluster. We can get rid of the Hercules. I don't know if we want the Fatal Push or not. It's just worth thinking about. Probably board out the Dress Down. But we could try like 1 Whisper. Or maybe you do 2 Whisper, 2 Mox. Yeah, I think I like this a little bit more. Game 2. We're down a game, need to win back-to-back. I think that this is fine. We're just going to try to leverage the Scalding Tarn. Okay. Sapphire. Tarn and Brainstorm. Well, we don't want Sphinx, so we'll put that back. Honestly, we don't want the Tendrils either. That was a pretty bad Brainstorm. I was like, yeah, I can put back 2 of these lands, but then their Brainstorm wasn't that great. Mock Sapphire. Volcanic Island. Alright, upkeep, we'll fetch and go get another black source. Draw. Ay, ay, ay. Night's Whisper. Okay. Those 2 were actually decent. Expressive Iteration. Well, we don't have any counter spells, so yeah, that happens. The 2-mana Dig Through Time is obviously good enough for Vintage. This card's bonkers. A lot of people think that this card should be banned in Legacy right now. The Lightning Bolt was the reveal. And they're just passing the turn. Draw. Another land. For 13 lands, we sure are seeing a lot of them. We'll keep the Flusterstorm here. Merchant Scroll. Go get Ancestral. Pass the turn. One has 8 cards. Another Expressive Iteration. This time they find Volcanic Island. They're passing the turn. Discarding a Daze. Hello, Mystical Tutor. I think we'll just pass here. No need to play into whatever they have. Like, I only have 1 counterspell to protect this Ancestral anyway, so... I guess that maybe I should have played off the Flooded Strand. They could have the 3-mana legendary creature here that I can't Fatal Push because I didn't play this. And another Expressive Iteration, okay. Included Delta was the reveal. Might as well make them discard. No point in casting this Mystical Tutor. Brazen Borrower down. Force of Will was a great draw. We'll play out the Flooded Strand this time. So I could try to Ancestral now, but I don't think it's worth it. Like, our opponent's discarding cards with text on them, so I don't think we just want to, like, play spells for the sake of playing spells. Up to 8 cards. Murktide Regent. Yeah, you got it. They have 7 cards in hand. Alright, I'm gonna fetch first. Let's target me. By doing the Ancestral on their turn, force a negation to shut off. They have Misstep, that's gross. Pitch Mystical. Okay, I will attempt to Fluster. I'm just so far behind here. So it's worth noting if their other piece of interaction is a Fluster, I can actually pay for it. But they still have 5 cards, which is just so many. They have another Force. Ah, geez. Okay. Draw. Super flooded. We're just dead. I believe we have every land that taps for mana that isn't Tolarian Academy in play. Dash the old Ragavan, sure. We'll attempt a Fatal Push. Okay, so we go to 8. And another Murktide. So they're telling me that they don't think I can win here. We have to rip something good. Force of Will is not it. So we finished this league 3-2, flooding out a bit here in this match. Sort of a bummer, but hey, that's Magic. Sometimes that happens. No big deal. What did I think of this deck list? It's a pretty good question. So I know that our match 3, we got to go really bananas with the PO, but that was really the only match. To me, I think the best part of this deck is still Tinker. I don't know if PO is aged particularly well. I did have a lot of fun playing it, though. I did have a thought throughout this league that maybe it might be worth exploring playing red PO. Instead of playing black for the tutors, just run Ragavan, because Ragavan makes treasures that turn on Mox Opal. It's a thought. I have tried something similar in the past, but you could play Underworld Breach too, so it's like a Breach PO deck with Ragavan in it. I don't know. But that's what I've got. So this deck list is fine. I don't think it's bad. I still don't love these Saga PO decks. I've played a lot of them in my life. I'm just not convinced they're where I want to be if I'm going to play Vintage. Still a really big fan of the Breach Tinker deck that I've been playing, but I wanted to go back to my roots tonight and play some Outcome. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate you. Take care and keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.